the great opportunity last summer to volunteer for Learning Enterprises, and I was in China for about 4 weeks.
So much of China and so much of the world is becoming interconnected, and it's developing so quickly.
There's really a lot of flexibility for us to take control, and instead of us just going on a program and being led by others, we were really the ones in charge.
Now they know that there's a huge world outside of their village, and they have a nice foundation to get them started when they want to continue to learn English.
We wake up around 7 and eat breakfast with the family.
Walk up a mountain and teach, from about 8 to 12 when it was super hot, and then walk down the mountain.
Take a nap for about an hour or two.
We'd just be exhausted and worn out from teaching all day, and we would wake up to kids in our room just pulling at us and tugging at us and jumping all over us. So it was really cool because even when you're outside of the classroom, you're constantly with your students, and I found that a lot of the volunteers had similar experiences, that their students would kind of raid their houses in the afternoons, which was actually really fun.
They would show me things, take me hiking, take me swimming, entertain me, force me to entertain them.
So I lived in a host family with about 8 kids in the house, so it was really busy, bustling, and noisy at times.
I lived with an American volunteer and a Chinese Nanjing University volunteer, which was a great way because we really got close and bonded over a lot of things. We're eating every meal together, sleeping. I had to share a bed with one of them that was very small, so we really got to get to know each other.
I lived with a host uncle and a host aunt. They had kids, but they were all grown up and working at other cities. But we had the local children in the village always coming in and out of the house to entertain us all the time.
Every moment was a fun moment because you had kids to play with, and we would do things like play soccer in the front yard, go swimming in the afternoons, or play hide and go seek around the house. And the youngest was around 3 and the oldest was like 14, so they were just a lot of fun to play with. Not a moment was boring at all.
I loved the experience of living with the host family. I thought it was a great way to really fully get to know the culture and the lifestyle.
We were spoiled with great food, and I ended up eating foods that I normally wouldn't eat, which is basically vegetables. I had so much tomato, pumpkin, mushrooms, and they were all so delicious and fresh. So the food is definitely not a problem.
I loved their food. We would have, it is something that you have to get used to because it is very different from any Chinese food you've ever had in America, completely different. But it's delicious. We would have a lot of eggplant, a lot of tofu, a lot of pork, a lot of meat. Pig's feet is a huge delicacy there.
I was very nervous because I thought the conditions were going to be very tough.
I was really nervous going over there. I actually filled my suitcase, my millions of suitcases, with trail mix and all these bars and stuff, but it was completely unnecessary.
Rural China turned out to be so much better than a lot of parts of modern China, as far as how crowded it was, pollution, how nice the people were, and the living conditions were excellent. The weather wasn't bad. I got used to the toilets, so people were incredibly hospitable.
My biggest piece of advice would be to pack lightly. They warned us about packing lightly, but I just didn't listen to them for some reason. I thought, I'm going to be gone for 5 weeks, I need clothes. But honestly, you really just start living such a simple life that you end up wearing the same thing every day and just washing it, and it's a lot simpler and easier. And don't bring nice clothing, you won't wear it. There's no time or place to wear anything nice. Just wear really simple, light clothing. And
I managed to do it all without a cell phone and having packed very lightly, just carry-on luggage, and it's very possible to do that, and packing light is very important.
The best part about the program was definitely the students. They really made the trip absolutely incredible.
They were just adorable. It was so much fun teaching them. I was really happy.
And they're also hysterical. I remember one day, I had a new student one day. I was like, oh, okay, do you have an English name? And he said, yeah, I already have one. And I was like, are you sure you don't want me to give you one? And he said, no, I already have one. So I asked him to write it down for me, and I looked down, and it's Spider-Man. And I was like, all right, we can go with that, I guess. And so from then on out, we called him Spider-Man.
They were just so eager to learn. Most of them didn't have any English experience, so we started pretty much at the basics.
They really had opinions about everything, and they were sure to let them out.
One day we were teaching them music. They thought that Lady Gaga was a duck because Gaga is I guess it sounds like a nickname for duck there. And they didn't know what Beyonce was, and that always made me really mad.
The other two English volunteers were teaching their students the hokey pokey and are having a lot of fun with it. And I was a little bit jealous because I went up to the front of my class and started like doing the hokey pokey and twisting and shaking, and they just laughed completely in my face and were like, yeah, we're not doing that. And when I would try to like encourage them to do it, they'd be like, yeah, no, because they were just too cool for that.
Emily and I kind of adopted a good cop, bad cop role, where I was a good cop. I would not yell at my students if they misbehaved, but Emily was pretty fierce at points in times, and I was actually scared when she started yelling.
I had a tendency to favor the male students and to be very strict with the female students, and she was very, favoring of the female students and very strict with the male students. So we ended up working very, very well together. Big brother and big sister.
We just tried to make teaching really fun and creative, and not just me going up to the front of the classroom and lecturing at them, but that was something completely new to them. And I know one student was describing the class one day when he was writing, and he described it as this crazy supermarket.
It's very important that they feel comfortable making mistakes and they feel comfortable taking a risk to speak a foreign language, because in China, I guess a lot of their classrooms, they're penalized so heavily for getting something wrong.
My teaching partner and I decided that we really wanted to get to know our students better, so we did one-on-one interviews and would take one student outside of the classroom and would just ask them questions about their dreams, their hopes, their family. What do you think of America? What do you think of China? What do you think of America and China? What do you think of foreigners? And it was really great to, learn so much about them and what they actually thought.
They would just talk to me and ask me questions, and they were just so interested in me as a person, just as much as I was interested in them, and I would meet their families, and we were able to have sort of a part teacher, part sibling, part mentor type relationship with them, which is something I feel that is very unique to them, because a lot of them, a lot of their families are, working in the cities and they don't see their family a lot. Not all of them have, older siblings, or a lot of them, they're used to, being, in the backdrop.
I think there was a huge culture shock.
There were some awkward instances.
Chinese babies do not use diapers. Instead, they have these funny little pants that have slits in them, and the parent just carries them around, and when they think their baby has to go, I don't know how they know.
We were on a train for 20 hours and then on a bus for 5 hours. So I hadn't taken a shower in like 2 days. In a large bucket, and then we were given a small ladle, and we would ladle water on ourselves, and we would just have to shower with a bucket of hot water. And it was quite an experience for the first night. About a week into it, I got used to it, but I still never felt completely clean after one of those showers.
The first time I saw a squat toilet, I just looked at it and I didn't know what to do. I had to go, hey, how does it work? What do I do?
I think something that you definitely need to know before you go to LA China is that if you're not Chinese, you will be gawked at. You are a celebrity. Because a lot of these people have never seen an actual white person before. They've only seen them in the movies or on TV and such. And I thought it was hysterical, personally. It's just something you have to be aware of, and I know some of the other volunteers felt a little bit uncomfortable with it, but if you just realize that, if you saw a Chinese person for the first time, you'd stare too. It's standard and normal, and actually kind of cool.
The last night we were in Mishi Village, the American volunteers went up to the roof of the girls' host family's house, and we brought up our mosquito net tent, and we brought up a small tarp and blankets, and we ended up just staying up all night staring at the stars. That night also happened to be the meteor shower across the world, and we saw over 20 shooting stars. So it was a great end to the trip where we just reminisced about the month we spent together teaching, living in rural China, as well as just seeing this breathtaking view of the stars.
The family members were so generous. We would show up to their house without them even knowing, and they would run to the store and buy watermelon and soy milk and all these snacks for us, which was really sweet of them.
And then I remember at the last day of school, he wore a particularly nice shirt. And I had told him, I complimented on his shirt, just being like, Jackson, I really like your shirt. Later that day, he rode his bike down the mountain to my host family's house and decided to give me the shirt just because he knew I liked it. And I was really taken aback, because that form of hospitality or charity is never seen in America, and so it was very moving.
They know that you like something, so they'll go buy you 2 watermelons, and they'll steam a bunch of peanuts and give you a bunch of mushrooms because they know you love mushrooms, and they pick flowers, they do all these things, and they go out of their way and go the whole 9 yards just to make sure that you feel happy and welcome.
In America, teachers are kind of role models and like are not like a parent figure, but a little bit. There's someone to look up to, and there's that sense of care in teaching that is kind of lacking in China. And so I know that a lot of the students were really attached to me and my teaching partner and the other teaching volunteers because of that.